Turtle Dork here with a new recap and review for season 4, episode 4, Oathkeeper. Didn't get the director, I'm sorry. I am the Turtle Dork. This is the Disco Dork. Let's go ahead and break this shit down. Danny frees the slaves of Marine. So we kind of start off with Grey Worm breaking in through like the tunnels of Marine, and all the slaves are kind of down in kind of like this this underground kind of dungeon area, and they're talking about everything that happened in the previous episode with Danny, and you know, trying to get them to rise up. And then Grey Worm with some of the other Unsullied come in, and he tells them, you know, who he is, where he came from, how he's been following Danny, and you know, she is the breaker of chains, and you know, this is your chance to rise up against your masters. And so then we cut to, he arms them with weapons that he gives them. So then we cut to the scene in Marine with one of the slave masters, and we see master written in red. And so then we see a bunch of the slaves, and it's like a tight corridor area. So we see slaves coming down one end, and then slaves coming down another end, and the slave master has two of his guards with him on his right and his left, and then they flee. They're like, yo, I'm out. And they go and they kill the slave master, and then we cut to the scene in Marine with Danny, and you know, going back to our favorite thing we like to see, Misa. Oh. Misa. So yeah, she's taking over Marine, man. And you know, that's another thing I took away from that too, was she says, you know, how many slaves were hung up on the way here, and it was like 163. So she takes 163 of the people of Marine, and she's going to basically crucify them and stick them up on the boards with the nails. And Selmy tries to talk to her and says, look.
I was going to say, didn't somebody advise her against that?
Yeah, Selmy was like, look, it's better to show mercy to some of your enemies that will, you know, help, you know, see you in a better light as a queen. And she's like, no, she's, I think I wrote it down here. She says, injustice. I'll answer it. I'll answer injustice with justice. I won't answer it with mercy. Mm. And it's interesting to see Danny at this stage, because we see that she has a lot of compassion. But then you spoke to this earlier, to see where she is now, like when she burns the Tarleys alive. I think it was Sam's father and brother. Yeah. And some of the stuff that she was doing is like, she's kind of following suit in the Mad King a little bit. So I don't know. It going into the final season, it's kind of hard to see where her journey is going to end up taking her. Is that going to end in her demise, or is she going to rise above that to be able to take the Iron Throne? Because now we're seeing her in a way where, you know, it's in a good way, but you know, stuff like this, but we understand the reasoning why she's being so fierce. But then, like, she just takes that shit to another level, like where we are in the show now. So it's like, it's interesting to start to kind of see her trying to figure that out. So I don't know, man. This kind of saddens me to think of the idea of Danny not being on the Iron Throne, or even Danny being killed, you know, because of her journey.
Well, I mean, just because, okay, say she does take the dark path, right? Mm-hmm. Go to the dark side. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean, like, she won't be on the throne.
True.
Like, she could, I mean, that's where it could be bittersweet, in that she's on the throne, but at what cost? Yeah. Not just, but at the cost of turning from who she was to what it took for her, in her eyes, to get to the throne.
Get there,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, so she might still be alive and on the throne. She just might be a asshole.
I know, and I don't want to see. And I mean, I still like Danny, but I do start the more I sit, and especially having this break from season 7 and some of the shit that she was doing, or that we've seen her do. I don't know. It just, sitting with it starts to make me think, like, is she the right person to be on the Iron Throne? You know, even though I've been rooting for her this whole time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, now, since I've been sitting with this shit for a couple of years, it's like, is that what I'm really rooting for? Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting to go into season 8, this final season.
Yeah.
Jaime and Bronn fighting or training, and I like what Bronn has to say about, you know, what happened to him with the trial by combat at the Eyrie, where, you know, if the trial by combat didn't happen that same day, he was going to choose you to fight for him. And he's basically saying, look, your brother chose you to fight for him, so you need to fight for him now. And again, just Bronn, man, just being that character that seems like in certain instances, he's always able to kind of be that voice of reason or talk sense into certain people.
Yeah.
Because we know the relationship that Jaime has with Tyrion, and we see that in the next scene when Jaime and Tyrion are talking in their cell.
Well, and another thing is, like, you know, Bronn is the sellsword. You know, a lot of the times when he's mentioned by other characters, he's referred to as that, with sometimes mostly negative connotations. And even his playful banter with Tyrion, like he will not let an opportunity go by with, you know, where he won't remind him sometimes that, you know, I'm doing it for the money too because you're paying me or whatever. But in that scene, and in multiple scenes between he and Tyrion, but also in this scene between he and Jaime, you get a sense that it's just reinforced that Bronn genuinely, it's not just about the money between he and Tyrion. He genuinely cares and respects Tyrion.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the right thing to say or a nice thing to say to motivate Jaime. Like that, I really believe that was heartfelt with Bronn. What Bronn said.
Absolutely. And then we cut to Jaime and Tyrion. So he finally gets to talk to his brother in his cell. I thought that was a really powerful scene because I think Jaime really wants to talk to Tyrion, look at him face to face and say, look, did you do it? You know, like, did you kill, you know, my son? You know, he kind of, you know, Tyrion knows because, you know, he says, you know, he refers to Cersei, saying that, you know, Cersei is torn up about the death of her son, and then he says her son, and he's like, look, don't go there. But Tyrion knows that that's his son as well.
Yeah.
And you know, he kind of jokes with Jaime. Is like, you know, he calls them the Kingslayer brothers. You know, since they both slayed kings, if he was the one to actually do it. And the fact that he mentions that Cersei did ask him to kill Tyrion, and Tyrion refers Tyrion as, he was like, so are you? Do you think that I would kill? Do you think that I would kill your son? And he says to him, he's like, as much as you would think that I would kill my own brother. And I don't know, it just kind of reinforces that bond, and I like seeing that connection between Jaime and Tyrion throughout, especially from this point moving forward.
Yeah.
And again, that goes to why I think my theory as far as with season 8, how I think is really going to come down to between Jaime having to decide between Tyrion and Cersei, and I really believe he would choose Tyrion. Over Cersei, even though
he does it in the scene.
Yeah, he does it in the scene, and I mean, of course, it's easy for people. I mean, just even kind of peripherally looking at it, you know, because Cersei is the mother of his children, that's his sister. I believe they're twins, and the intimate relationship that they have. That, you know, you would think that he would do, but look, like, if you really follow the show and look at even just the way that he plays a lot of the scenes with them, he loves his brother.
Yeah.
And every time, and Cersei doesn't. And Cersei is always, she wants Tyrion dead. And Jaime is always like, wait a minute, let's think this through before we decide to do, and she even mentions this. She was like, you've always had his back. So I like that scene between the two of them.
Yeah.
Sansa and Baelish on the ship. This is basically her trying to figure out what is Baelish's motives, and like him playing this game as far as you know, because she thinks that he was the one that killed Joffrey, and he even says that to a degree. He says, look, Sir Dantes, like some of that poison was in the necklace. I was the one responsible, or he was saying that in a way to try to confuse the Lannisters as far as like who was responsible for Joffrey's death. And Sansa is trying to see through that. But I don't know, it just kind of reinforces a little bit about just everything between Baelish and Sansa, and you can start to see how he's trying to manipulate her. But I don't know, I like the fact that she's starting to question him a little bit more.
Yeah.
Then Lady O. So I thought Lady O revealed in this past season that she killed Joffrey, but I totally forgot about this scene with Marjorie, where she basically tells Marjorie up front. She was like, look, because Marjorie says, like, we don't know who did this. And she was like, we know. And then she looks at Lady O. She was like, you don't think I was going to have you marry that beast. Yeah. And I was like, oh, shit.
It makes sense, though, because they go there. They see that. They go to King's Landing. They see and they hear firsthand from Sansa that Joffrey's a monster. Had that conversation went different, had Joffrey been a straight dude, it obviously wouldn't have went down like that. But when Olenna and Marjorie finds out, but specifically Olenna, when she finds out that Joffrey's an asshole, she immediately thinks, okay, well, if I kill him, the next in line is Tommen, and he's a totally different person. Yeah. And I'd rather her be with him than Joffrey. So all I got to do is just get him out of there. He's the next successor, and then we'll be good.
We'll be good to go.
And that's basically what she did.
Yeah. So it makes sense to kind of reveal that, to let us know, because also it lets us know how the Tyrells are playing this game and manipulating the whole situation as well.
But also, like, the way that Marjorie reacts and responds to Joffrey's death, because this is the second scene since his death that has Marjorie with Olenna, and Olenna is counseling her and comforting her. Yeah. And Marjorie doesn't have to put on for Olenna. Like that's her blood, right? So when she's with her, like that's who Marjorie really is, right? So she was genuinely, she genuinely felt some type of way about Joffrey's passing. No, she, oh, my love died or whatever. She was just distraught that, damn, first it went out like that, but also, I want to be queen.
Queen, yeah.
And Olenna was like, yo, you can be queen, but you will be queen with a person who is more fit to rule with you and who will treat you better and you won't be acting an ass. Yeah. But the fact that she genuinely felt shaken by that and moved and, sad by that, for me, I was like, because I don't know if it was in a few episodes where, like, a few episodes ago, I was like, okay, earlier on, I was like, Marjorie she doesn't have any ulterior motive. She's really, all of her decisions are really based on genuinely wanting to help the lower class of King's Landing, but also be a benevolent queen or whatever. But then I was like, okay, is she playing the game? Like, but she's playing the game, but is there something else to it? Like, is there an undercurrent? Yeah. But the fact that, she genuinely, sympathized with the death of Joffrey to a certain extent. I feel like, man, she is like a decent person. Like,
yeah. I mean, I've never
she could
thought
be empathetic in that way.
Yeah. I mean, I never thought. I mean, well, we know that Marjorie is not like Cersei,
right?
Even though, like, she knows how to play the game and be manipulative and try to get what she wants out of certain situations, but it's never done in, like we said before, in such in a malicious way. And we see that Marjorie she is a good person. She does care.
I just can't remember later on, because I know, like, once the Sparrows come in and she gets taken and her brother gets taken, I know there's a bunch of stuff that happens with her leading up to, like, what happens between her and Cersei, but I can't remember. So I don't know, like, is her true nature later revealed in those,
possibly,
in that particular storyline?
That's the stuff with the Sparrows is next season.
5,
yeah. Which is, I'm intrigued to get to that season, because I don't know.
That's a big one for Cersei.
That's a big one for Cersei, but I just don't know how I feel about that season overall. I think, well, we'll see.
I barely remember.
Yeah. Let's go to let's stick with Marjorie when she sneaks into Tommen's room. So there's a scene before with Cersei and Jaime when he comes to her room, and she's asking about Tommen and how many guards do you have, and he's like, well, we got one. And I don't know, Cersei's just at that point, she's questioning Jaime a lot. She's like, look, why did Lady Catelyn leave you alive?
That doesn't let up. I mean, even I want to say even in later seasons, even in season 7, like she's still. I felt if I'm remembering correctly, I feel like she still is kind of shaky on where Jaime's allegiances lie, because I still feel like even in season 7, where we are currently, she is not sure if he's on Tyrion's side or if he's more on her side. But this I think this is the beginnings of that.
Yeah. Because she's questioning him as far as like why Lady Catelyn set you free, and he says, she's like, look, I told her if she let me free, I would give her daughters back to her. And then also even questioning the whole thing with Brienne, like, how did she bring you back, stuff like that, and all this other stuff. So I don't know, man. Like, seriously, I get it. Like, she's grieving, she's mourning, and she's a bit angry and frustrated. So she might be lashing a little bit, but I think she's definitely, you can definitely see.
But even outside of that, like, even outside of the death of Joffrey, like everything that's going on in King's Landing with just the game in itself, like it's not far-fetched that she'd be paranoid like that, because you got to think, take the death of Joffrey out, we still have the Brienne stuff, you still have the Caitlyn stuff, like all that's politics shit. And okay, so that's like when somebody get locked up or get arrested, and then he out like a week later, and your man's just like, yo, did you snitch? Like, did you do a plea deal? Like, how'd you get out? Like, why you ain't get no time?
Yeah.
So I think it comes down to that. Like, it makes sense that she's kind of paranoid.
Yeah. So then we get the title of the episode, Oathkeeper, with Jaime and Brienne. So basically, Jaime gives Brienne the sword from the episode 2 Swords a while back that Tywin had forged from Robb Stark's sword. And he gives that to Brienne, saying, look, you vowed to Catelyn Stark to get her daughters back. So, it's no better place for you, for anybody to have the sword than for you to have this sword, since it belonged to Robb Stark. And he basically sends her to go retrieve Sansa, to go retrieve Sansa Stark, and gives her some new armor that he had fitted for her. And then that goodbye that they have, we see Podrick. So Podrick is going along with Brienne to go on this journey to find Sansa. And it was just a sweet goodbye between the two of them. And the way the scene kind of ends with, he asks her, he says, most people normally name their swords, and what would you name your sword? And she says Oathkeeper, and it takes you back to that moment where he tells her the story about what really happened between the Mad King, and how he was always seen as this oath breaker, but her knowing the truth about Jaime. I just thought that was just a really nice moment.
She basically named the sword Jaime.
basically. And I just thought, again, just showing just how great of a character that Brienne is, and how loyal she is to these people that she comes across. And I think that loyalty and that honor that she shows through her own character, the people that interact with her, it almost brings that honor and loyalty is reciprocated from those people that she interacts with. Because it didn't start out that way with Jaime, and now we see how that same respect is given to her by Jaime. Same thing with Lady Stark. And the same thing we'll see in later seasons with Arya and Sansa. It's I don't know, man. I really like Brienne as a character. I just thought that was a great scene between the two of them. What else we got? John. Oh yeah, John tries to recruit some men to head back up to Craster's place. So we know that Alistair is trying he wants John out of there, basically, and he figures he's like, look, let the mutineers take John out. So he's going to send him on a mission to go up to Craster's place to fight against some of the wildlings and the mutineers that's up there, and we see Locke, Noah Taylor's character, actually cut Jamie's hand off, so he's gone up to the wall, and I think it was either this episode or the last episode we saw him there, but I was wondering, like, where the fuck did he come from? Like, how did he get there? So now that we see what Alistair, Ridley Scott dude looks like Ridley Scott, is really plotting to try to kill John, and so that he is, the blood is down on his hands. I'm thinking that Locke is also there to kind of see this whole thing through. Yeah. So that's what it kind of feels like in this moment, especially when he orders John to go up to Craster's place to fight these wildlings and these mutineers.
Yeah, I don't remember how that plays out, but just with the history of that character, I'm talking about Locke. Yeah. It makes sense, and just with the history of Alistair too, him not liking John, because initially that's the thing that don't make sense to me. Yeah. As far as Alistair's thinking or lack thereof, is that you've been told that you got wildlings south of the wall and a larger army north of the wall. You've been told about the freaking White Walkers. You know about the size. You've been told about the size of Mance's army. And the importance of why they should go up there to Craster's place to take out those people. Yeah. But is he planning on having John assassinated before they even get there, and then having the Crows continue on at Craster's place to take those other people out? Or is he just more concerned with just killing John? Because if you just kill John and don't take out the people at Craster's place, like, John said what was going to happen. Like, those people could end up snitching or, spilling the beans to Mance about, we don't have 1,000 people at the army, and then y'all are fucked. So I don't know. Like, I'm curious to see how that plays out.
Yeah, his priorities are all, at least from what I'm seeing so far, Alistair's priorities are all screwed up. Yeah. I mean, he's on this power trip, and he sees that the men are responding to Jon Snow. So his first thing is like, I need to get this motherfucker out of here. Yeah. And I don't know, man. It just seems like his priority. I mean, we know his priorities are all fucked up as far as what he ends up doing to Jon Snow. Yeah. But I don't know, man. Like, that whole thing.
I just can't stand him. I hate that character. I mean, the dude who's playing him does it well, so much so that in the writing goes a long way to make me hate that dude. But man, he's just that's a fuck boy.
Yeah, to the 9th degree. Let's get towards the end of the episode. Not the final scene with the Night King, but everything leading up to that at Craster's place. So there's a lot going on there. Well, first we get the scene with I don't even know his name. Oh, Carl. Yeah, Carl with a K. Coral. Wrong show. But yeah, so he's talking to the other cat that was there that betrayed against Mormont. That other dude, the dude looked like he always pouting. I don't know his name. That dude always looked like he pouting. He's just got that face like. It's like,
what does it look like? Don't ever make that face again.
Why? That's how he look. He just look.
Stop.
But yeah, so all that shit happens. He tells him to go out to feed the beast, which is Snow, who's caged outside. And the lady comes in and says, we have Craster's last born. It's a baby boy. It's like, fuck you want me to do?
He was ready to kill it. All right, let me stab it real quick.
It's like, okay, what you telling me for? It's like obviously you don't know the ritual here. You don't know how things go. Yeah. He's like, this is an offering for the gods. It's a gift to the gods. He's like, oh, I get it. Okay, the White Walkers. Okay, why didn't you just say that? Yeah. So he orders Poutin Dude to go take the baby out into the woods, and he leaves the baby out there. And then he tries to feed Snow, and then we hear the crows cowing and
basically the signal that the White Walker came and got the baby. Because you don't actually see that happen.
You don't see it.
The next time we see the baby, he's way up north. in the arms of one of the White Walkers.
Yeah. But then we get to Bran, and then so Bran, they hear the baby
yes.
in the so they're not far from Craster's place. So he's like, look, I'm gonna go out there and check it out. So he wargs into Summer. Summer goes and checks everything out and sees the cage and can see Wolf before Wolf, not Wolf, Ghost. I said Wolf. I'm trying to remember. There's a lot of fucking names in this show. I gotta remember the direwolves' names, and I don't even remember Arya's direwolf, Nyamir, some shit. What was it?
He just reduced that shit down to the most basic. Like, he sees Wolf, who was put in the cage by a man.
Oh shit. Okay, my bad.
Not even the Wolf or a Wolf. He sees Wolf.
I can't. Like, he's not Wolf. I was about to call him Snow because he's white. Ghost. So he sees Ghost. Summer sees Ghost in the cage, and then Summer gets trapped, and then Bran wargs back out of Summer. And he was like, "Look, Summer got trapped." And he was like, "I saw John's direwolf. I saw a ghost." So they're like, "Look, we gotta go. We gotta go investigate this." So they go up a little bit further to investigate. Get caught by some of the crows at Craster's place. I totally forgot about this scene, but it did jog my memory. That shit with Hodor.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, that's hard to watch.
Yeah, man, like them fucking torturing Hodor. And then we come to find out that Carl, he figures out who Bran is because we see some stuff happen between Mira and Jojen. Jojen is having one of his seizures, and in order to stop it, Bran says, "Look, I'm Brandon Stark of Winterfell." And Carl's like, "Oh, okay." It's like this is a bit of an eventful day.
Yeah.
And then we cut to, I guess, the final scene with the Night King. So we knew about this scene. I didn't know when it happened in the series. I thought it was later on, but I mean, we're in season 4, so those things that we thought were later are coming up now.
Yeah.
But I do remember this vividly of actually finally seeing what happens to these babies that Craster has been offering up.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is the first time we see the Night King.
I know, that's the same thing I was thinking too. I don't think we've seen them. This is the first time we've seen the Night King, and it's interesting the way they kind of hide him up until that last shot. Kind of seeing him a little bit from the baby's point of view, and through some of the icing of the tables and stuff like that, and like the reflections. But Night King's a cold motherfucker, man. Literally,
Yeah.
cold, man. Like, I don't know, man. Like I said, we get little bits of all this stuff beyond the wall, and this was a big one. This was a big one here because we see what he's capable of, and I'm just trying to figure out. And I hope we get this in season 8. It's like, or I don't know. Maybe they do tell us why are they heading, why are they attacking? Like, what's the purpose of the Night King and the Army of the Dead? Like, what are their reasoning? Like, what is their purpose for doing all this stuff?
To make everything winter, to take over,
just to take over everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
Turn everything ice, turn everything cold.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Maybe I'm looking for more reason than that, but I guess you really don't.
I mean, we may have more reason revealed later on when we know
who the Night King is, if it's Bran or something.
It's Bran.
That's just gonna break my heart if it is.
My theory is whatever we do find out about the Night King, obviously in addition to his true identity or his true origins, but like you said, to answer your question, okay, why are you doing this? Like, what made you?
Yeah.
Like, when you got stuck in that first man's body, like, what turned you? Like, what turned you to this stage? So that's what I'm looking for.
And that's why I'm intrigued to find out. Because right now it's cool just seeing like this this force, this army of the dead marching down south, this unstoppable force that everybody that we've been following has to stop.
Yeah.
But as we get towards the end of the series, you know, I definitely want to get a little bit more as far as like some of the context for why all this stuff is happening, especially like I say, if they're going to lay waste to everything and everybody and all the characters that we love.
Yeah.
Like if the show fucking ends with the Night King on the Iron Throne, I want to know a little bit. I want to know who this motherfucker is and what his motives were.
But you know, like for real, like if it's Bran, you know, a lot of that deep-seated anger could be really, you don't even have to go further than what happened to his family.
Yeah. True.
In this world, this place, this world where good people don't live, don't last long, you know, this place, King's Landing, where everybody's stabbing each other in the back and politic and all this bullshit. Mm-hmm. This world did this to my family, took my family away from me. So fuck all.
That's
that. You know what I'm saying? Like he really don't need more reason than that.
No, you're right. If your theory is true about Bran, that makes a lot of fucking sense.
You know
it makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
So now some other things could be revealed as to motivations why, but I'm just saying like you really don't need to. For me to buy it, you don't need to give me more than that.
No, that's actually perfect. Like I said, I mean, I don't know who the Night King is because I've heard the theories about Bran, but if it is Bran, that's really all you need.
Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. I think that would be satisfying. Also, to see whatever happens to the Night King at the end of the show. But yeah, man, it's intriguing, man. So yeah, that's episode 4, Oathkeeper. Great episode. I love that title. That scene with Brienne and Jaime.
Yeah.
Powerful, man. So let us know what you thought of this episode in the comments below. Remember to rate, like, subscribe, and share. And check out our other dorks at MouthDork, at WB Dance, at Sidewalk Siren. Check out the podcast at ItModcast. I am the Turtle Dork. This is the Disco Dork. With that, we out of here.